Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. This is our season finale.
Dun, dun, dun.
Don't worry, everyone. It really means absolutely nothing. It's just for numbers and organizing all of it. So there will be an episode next week. So we have no hiatus.
No, we're just stuck here and you guys are stuck with us unless you want to unsubscribe.
Please don't do that. It's because we have no union rights. That's why. We need it. A podcasting union. Well, if you are new here, this is an advice podcast. You call in, you leave us voicemails, and then we, your fantastic co-hosts, hi, I'm Megan, joined by Melissa.
Hi.
We give you our incredible, amazing, show-stopping, never been done before, put it in a blender, shit it out, eat it, all of that. Fantastic advice.
Yep.
And what we lack in credentials, we make up for in
personality.
that too. Opinions and personality.
I know it was opinions, but I wanted to add a little flair.
It is truly personality and humor. I might be a bitch, but at least I'm funny. So if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. We ask that you write down what you're going to say in your call. Time it out. Practice, because you got to keep it under 3 minutes, and we want as much information as possible. Always include your ages. If it's about relationships, how long you've been dating. Let us know your pronouns, and whoever else is in the call and featured, their pronouns. We keep it all anonymous. Got to be 18 or over. Have your parents' permission. And anything else today? Is there any other requirements we have?
You covered it.
Well, just know if you want to get on Melissa's very short gold star list, you got to keep it not even necessarily short and sweet, but condensed. What's new with you?
I have on some blue light glasses because last episode, my eye was leaking and burning. And so now I have these on. So I know that people are watching, see a huge glare. I don't apologize because if I didn't have them on, then my eyes would be leaking. So
I brought mine over in case I wanted to try and put mine on. But mine are pretty good for now. Speaking of eyes leaking, that happened the last time that we recorded. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, go get eye drops. It's like the universe wanted me to like think about eye drops because then I went to the eye doctor.
Ooh.
And I got a new prescription. I've gotten a lot of questions about people. I did like a glasses try on and talking about LASIK on TikTok. If you want to go check it out.
I saw it.
I can't with you fucking to keep commenting and being like, what TV show were you on? Anytime there's like any mention of Freakish, like Melissa will respond to someone's comment and be like, someone's like, did Freakish get canceled? And was like, no, I think it's coming back next year for another season. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then you commenting like, what TV show was it? And then someone responds Freakish. And everybody, people are genuinely responding to you as if like, because they don't know. And I'm just like, she's trolling all of you. Like,
I know. I need some more like actual friends on TikTok that are active so then I can like get my trolling out on other people, not just you.
No, it's okay.
So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, it helps with your engagement. So that's why I do it. But
the issues are your nieces and nephews most of them are too young for you to troll.
Yeah. I mean, I still do. I troll
but
MJ.
You don't get the same back and forth.
I don't get the same back and forth. Yeah. And then like none of my other friends are very active on, like, they watch TikTok, but they don't make TikTok. So I can't troll them the same way. And I do troll strangers, but it's just not the same feeling when it's someone you know.
It's not. It truly is not. But what I was going to say, though, is that I got my prescription. I'm -2 in each eye, which is like not nearly what I was at when I got LASIK. And so like my eye doctor thinks that like this is like my full prescription, that this is like the level that my eyes were going to reach. But I've always thought my right eye, like over the last couple of years, that like my right eye is like weaker than my left eye. When he's like, no, they're the same prescription. I was like, weird. This eye's so much more like foggy and fuzzy. And he like looks and he was like, oh my God.
I already know. Hold on. I can't hear
take it out and I'll tell the audience. If you're squeamish, it's not bad. It's not like horribly squeamish, but I guess my eyes are super dry. My left one's like pretty fine. My right one that's entirely covered in like all of these like micro tears. So I have to get, you can listen again now. You can put them back on. So I have to I need to start doing eye drops 3 times a day up until I get this, which he could have done in the office. But I was like, what? I kind of want to like look into it more because I also don't have vision insurance right now. And so I'm like, okay, how much is this going to cost without insurance and all of that? But to get this like I guess like in office, what is it called?
Yeah, like in office treatment.
Yeah, where they like put these little like implants in your eyes, like make your eyes tear, and like they like are, I guess, like, I don't know, does something to your tear ducts to like make your eyes like lubricate themselves more. But I was like, wow,
I probably need something like that because mine are always dry and then just leaking out the sides. But
yeah, apparently leaky eyes mean dry eyes.
Yeah, yep. And so the eye drops have been working great for me. Like I literally text Megan because it was so bad that I had to lie down like on Monday and Tuesday, like, and just like keep my eyes closed because it was just awful. And then when I got the eye drops, it was so much better. Like I literally said, I feel like I have new eyes.
That's how I feel now. I think the last time that I like had my eyes were like this sharp, I was watching TV shows. I was probably watching Friends or like the 4th season of Friends or something. I haven't watched a TV show made in the last 5 years with like my eyes, like the full vision of my eyes, like in so long that I forgot we're watching The Blacklist now. And I'm like, I can see every string of her hair. And Mons is like, yeah, it's like good quality. I was like, wow. And he's like, Megan, this was made in like 2013.
You were watching it in 1080p.
Yes. I was watching in 720. I was literally watching it in 720, 480.
420. And now you're in 4K.
It's
as the kids say, the youth say.
Feel like I'm like living in 4K now. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. I'm going to be able to drive. What a time. Matza is so excited to not have to be my personal chauffeur.
Like, now I don't have to drive Melissa over streets at night.
I'll also make him do that. I wonder how driving at night's going to be now, because that's like a hard pass. But I've always really struggled because I have halos. And then
I do too.
LASIK made it worse.
I rarely do that. I rarely drive at night. Your other glasses that you have, I also have some blue lights that look just almost exactly the same.
Which ones? My Edna Mode ones or my?
No, not the ones that you did.
These aren't these ones. Yeah, these are my black. Yeah. These are my black light ones.
Yeah. The non-Edna Mode ones.
The Harry Potter ones. They're cute. I was inspired by Sydney. She has like a very similar kind of pair that I think are her. I think she has them for reading or blue light. I don't remember what hers are for, but they're cute. And I was like, I'm inspired.
But anyway, should we get to the update?
Let's do it.
So this is from season 7, episode 8.
I originally called in asking for advice about moving in with my boyfriend. I think at the time that I called in, it was about 8 months into the relationship. We're about to hit a year this month. And I just was asking for advice. I've been struggling with depression and anxiety pretty heavily throughout all of the pandemic. And so I mentioned how I was having a really hard time sleeping on my own. And with my roommate having a boyfriend as well, it was always a sort of coordinating if she would be at the apartment when I was there, or if I needed to go over to my boyfriend's. et cetera, et cetera. So it was just getting very stressful. And during my senior year of college, didn't feel like something that I should be worrying about. And so the advice you gave me, I definitely took to heart. And I appreciate that you guys talked about just the times that we're in, and especially taking like my mental health into consideration. I talked about it with pretty much everyone that I knew just to get differing opinions. One of the questions that you asked me is if I was in therapy. Yes, I am in therapy. I love therapy. I love my therapist. And she was the one that just continued to bring it up and continued to have conversations with me about it. So she definitely helped. I kind of expected my mom to be against it, like against moving in with my boyfriend. She's a very devout Christian and I admire her for that, but I'm not there. So I kind of expected her view has always been you're married before you move in. And she was very on board. She was just like, it makes the most sense. And I think that something that has kind of come to light, you said in the original call, like, it's a pandemic. Like it's a different experience with relationships. You're either breaking up or you're getting married. Mm-hmm. And since our entire relationship has been during a pandemic, we have just been like in the house for a year. And it's kind of been nice we already know that we can cohabitate. We also know that we can have a great time just sitting on the couch and watching a movie all night. And so I think that is a weird perspective that I didn't really expect. But it's been great in helping me realize. So I guess I haven't said yet, I'm moving in with my boyfriend. I have moved in. We now have, I have moved into the house that he owns, and it's going very well. I mean, we basically already were, just because I was over here so much, that it's just working out as well as it can. I will say though, this isn't me saying like, if you've been in a relationship with a person for a year, the next step is to move in with them. I think that's like something important to point out. My circumstances and how I've been and everything has, just come to this conclusion, but that's not the case with everybody. So, I think that's the majority of it.
Oh my God. I mean, we knew you moved in just based on the headphones we asked before we were recording. No, but that's great. And I think like it is like we've always said, like it's a pressure cooker on relationships. Like it's like a make or break kind of thing. And I'm always a huge fan of like doing things that are good for your mental health in the moment. And if you can like foresee if they're going to be good for your mental health in the future, like take that into consideration. But I'm like a day-to-day kind of person. Yes. And so like that kind of stuff can be like incredibly, incredibly helpful, and is like, again, so pandemic specific. Like it's something that like a year into relationships for most people, I'm like, oh, don't move in together. Cause like if you're having fun with your roommates, like you're loving all of that. I'm like, do everything until that thing's not fun anymore. But like in the pandemic, not saying that like nothing's fun anymore, but life just kind of changes in that way that like everyone's making these life changes that like are just to keep our sanity from the last like year plus. So I'm glad that do you feel like it's been helping mental health wise?
Oh my gosh, yes. I also, I got put on medication, which has been helping. I have medication for depression and a separate medication for anxiety. I didn't specify in the first call, but I get my anxiety at night. Like if I'm alone during the day, I'm completely fine. It's something about when the sun goes down that just...
You're talking to two people who both have nighttime anxiety, so we very much understand.
So it really is just like having somebody in the bed with you and knowing that you're not alone, and it just makes me feel safer. During the day, I'm completely fine, and I actually enjoy it. Right now, since I've just graduated from college, I'm still in a limbo of I kind of have a summer break, but I'm also looking for a big girl job. But he still has his big boy job. So I get that time during the day to have this space to myself and do the things that just make me still feel like an individual, even though I'm living with someone. So that's been great too.
Oh, we love to hear that. Those are our favorite kind of updates. Mm-hmm. Great update. Love to hear it. Mm-hmm. Love to know that. I always like wonder when sometimes I will forget the advice that we gave, and I'm like, hope we didn't say anything horrible. And we were really, I hate being wrong, but makes me happy to hear that they're happy and things are going good.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic relationships. I would love to see some statistics, like uprise in, I know people think that there's like a huge uprise in pregnancies, but
there's not.
There's not.
Mm-mm.
I would be curious to know if there would be an uprise like now that people are vaccinated.
I feel like people are going to start banging it out, and there's going to be a lot of accidental pregnancies because I don't think that women probably have been keeping up with their birth control, like, because why?
Yeah.
And people are just going to be horny as fuck and fucking. And, I look forward to it, to whatever their nicknames will be called. Panty babies. We'll see.
Sounds too much like panty. Ooh. But I also think too that like the people who are very much like, I don't want to say doomsday people, but like the realists who are like, I don't want to bring a baby into the world right now. This seems like really uncertain. Those people I think will be like, okay, now I'm ready. Like, I think it'll speed up a lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm curious. I'm also curious about like the amount of couples that like broke up, that stayed together, that like got together. Like, I'm curious if this is going to be like a worldwide cuffing season where it's that
it will be.
As soon as everyone's vaccinated, everybody's getting dumped or doing the dumping, to like be single and go out and have fun and all that stuff. But the social skills, my social skills are.
When I did that photo shoot that I did a few weeks ago, I realized that it took me a little second to like talk. Like, because I'm just used to kind of just like letting people talk on Zoom, so then I'm not interrupting them, and so it was just awkward. But we shall see. Especially when you're talking with a mask on, because when I was getting my picture taken, everybody was far away, and we were more than 6 feet away. But then, like closer, we were still 6 feet, but had on mask and talking. So that was just.
Because I always find myself going like, like leaning in with one ear, like, huh? Yeah. There's a Benny Drama Instagram video about like, and I think he did a TikTok on it too, about like me talking to people after the pandemic. And it's like so accurate. Like, it's just so chaotic and just so awkward and weird, and just like does like, it's like, hey, hi, arms are.
And also like, you're not used to seeing people from the waist down. Like, everything about it's just weird. It's just weird.
It's all super, super fucking weird. But should we get into the rest of the episode?
Let's do it.
Hey, Megan and Melissa. My name's Alicia, and I'm a Pisces from Canada who uses she, her pronouns. I should also mention that I'm actively working through this whole situation in therapy, but I wanted kind of a second opinion as I don't have very many good friends. So now that's out of the way, I'm having trouble figuring out if I still want to be in my 4-year relationship or not, or if it's just like the pandemic fatigue affecting my brain in some weird way. Anyway, I don't think I want to be in this relationship anymore, or any relationship at all. So to keep it short, my boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 4 years. I got into the relationship when I was young and a lot different than I am now. So throughout the 4 years, and especially through the past one, I've grown a lot personally, and I've changed a whole bunch. Like, I'm not even the same person as I was, even at the beginning of this whole pandemic thing. But I just feel like he hasn't, and I don't blame him for that. I just think that I'm stuck in a classic case of it's not you, it's me. I say this because I've been changing in the past year, a lot of it was discovering my sexuality to find out that I am not fully straight. And I think I want to work towards figuring that part of myself out. That's actually most of it. I just feel that since I got into this relationship so young that I didn't expect it to go this far at all. I thought it was gonna be like a little 3-month thing, and then we break up and I move on, sort of thing. And now I feel kind of stuck. So now it may sound like I already know what I want to do, but the thing is, he's so good with me, and I'm so comfortable with him, and I love him, and I don't want to hurt him if I don't have to. I have also discussed my feelings with him, and he seemed okay about it, but I just get the feeling that he thinks this is kind of like a phase. So I don't know what to do about that. But I also see myself living happily with him in the future. Like, there's a version of me that could totally continue this relationship and be totally happy. So yeah, on one hand, once everything calms down a little, I could be totally happy with him, but on the other, girls. So yeah. I'm also very stressed right now as I work at a very busy coffee place facing the public every day. And people are rude all day long, and I can't afford to not work. So I've been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic last year. And it's just getting really hard to stay motivated. So maybe all these feelings are made up in my brain, and you never know. That could happen. Anyways, I'm open to any advice or thoughts you may have, and maybe it can help me finally make a decision. So thank you.
I mean, when you call into this podcast and you say all of that, you know what we're going to say.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this was like the perfect segue call, like after what we just talked about too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say I don't think it's made up in your head, and everything that you're going through is very valid. And after everything we just said about people, you know, in the pandemic and questioning what their relationship is like, also you questioning your sexuality, I think all of these still would have happened regardless of the pandemic. It's just like you're in it we're in the pandemic right now, and so this is the lens that you're seeing it through, but it would have happened regardless. So I think that, you know, you said there's a version of you that could be happy with him, but I don't think so. You're not going to be happy because you're going to always be thinking, what if? So like, yeah, you could stay in this relationship and, you know, I don't think you'd be happy, but I think you would be fine. But you're going to continue to like you said, he hasn't grown at all during the pandemic in your eyes, but you have yourself. So I think that you should break up with him and figure your things out. Figure out what you actually want. Figure out what you want to do. Just figure things out. Like you said, you've grown and changed, and now it's time to explore what that means.
Yeah. And I think that's like not a cunty thing to be like, I've really grown and changed and he hasn't. Mm-hmm. That translates to we've kind of grown apart. Mm-hmm. And like, even if it feels really one-sided, that you don't feel like he feels that way, you don't know that. Like, you guys are just kind of growing in different directions, and you got together really young. And like you said, like, sure, there's a version of you that you could see with him forever, but I don't know if that's the current version of you. I think that that's like what you thought about a little while ago. And yeah, not invalidating like your sexuality or like whatever you're exploring or anything like that as like, yeah, it's not pandemic related at all. And I would say I've had friends who have been in like heterosexual relationships and then discovered that they're not straight, and have both ways, have like left that relationship and then also have like stayed in that relationship. But if you are questioning your relationship, that to me is always like, there's time that mm-hmm. now it's time, because there's a difference between, you're not always going to be 100% sure with, I mean, any choice that you make in general. But if your relationship's going through rocky times, it's, okay, what can we do to make this work? Versus, I don't know if I want to make this work. Like, I don't know if that's what I want. And it's not that you both don't need therapy. This isn't like a couples therapy thing. There's not like any issue here. And I think for a lot of people, and anyone in general, it's really hard to end a relationship when it feels like there's nothing wrong. And there's nothing like there's nothing, it's not a bad relationship. And when there's still a lot of like love and respect in a relationship, it can feel like, why am I getting rid of this thing if this is like my one true love and this is the only thing that's going to be like this? And that's such like a fatalistic mentality, that there is one person for you, and every other relationship that like, if you mess up that one time, then it's never going to be like that. And like, what I wish people could like think about it like friendships. Like, we have friendships that like suit us for different periods of our life, and like childhood friends, and like you might grow apart and go back together, and like you don't always end a friendship on bad terms and all of that. And I wish we thought of relationships like that too, because you can just grow apart and still really love and respect someone, and recognize that like, because this didn't work out, this isn't the only relationship. Like, if anything, when a relationship works out, that should give you faith that like, oh, relationships work. not this is the only one that is ever going to work. Like this is, I think about that when like you fall in like love with someone, or if someone like you after like a breakup, you really start to like someone and like it doesn't work out. I'm like, think of that as a success. Like you can feel those feelings for someone. Like that's like a great thing. And that's not tied to one person. But like we always said, when you date someone for that long, when you're that young, most of the time, all of those feelings and experiences are tied to that person, or mostly to that person. So I'm with Melissa. I say break up. And if he like really like cares about you and like really loves you and all of that, like it might inevitably hurt him as it happens, but it's going to hurt you in the same kind of way. And staying with him with not being 100% sure, that's hurting both of you in the long term so much more.
Yep. It's not being fair to either one of you.
Yeah. And I would say like for the part where you had said that you think that he thinks it might just kind of be a phase. If you're not in therapy, I would go to a therapist who like specializes and like explicitly like works with, people, a part of the oh my God, I saw someone TikTok of a guy saying it as a word and now I can.
Or you could say alphabet mafia is what it is.
Oh yeah. A part of that, like a part of the community.
Yeah.
Because
that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because either that is super invalidating if that's like his expression of like, that's like pretty invalidating. And also like, you're not identifying as like, in the call, you haven't identified as being bi, but I'm pretty sure that's like specific, that's explicitly like biphobic and like that, it's a phase, but it's also like homophobic and, you know, all of that. But if it's something that you're sensing, that also might be, and he hasn't said anything about it, but that's kind of how you have been feeling, then it could also be some internalized part, which does make sense to me if you're being like, maybe it's the pandemic and all of that, like being able to talk to someone. And again, maybe it's not even a therapist. Maybe it's just some members of the LGBTQ community that you can have conversations with about that, because your feelings are valid and like who you are is valid and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, break up. You don't have to hate someone to break up.
No, it just could be that your guys have you're just at a crossroad. You're at the end of the road now, and you can still be friends, if that's what you want. But I think you're going to feel stuck and stagnant if you stay.
Yeah. And I think also if you are absolutely meant to be together down the road, it'll happen. And if it's like if he's in like if we break up now, we're never getting back together, then he's not who you're supposed to be with. Like if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. And that it's not in the sense that you're going to have to stay in this relationship and kind of like squash all of this stuff. And yeah, like really, I don't want to say settle in a bad way, but you're kind of settling for.
I don't think it's
you're
settling.
stunting your
it's
growth.
It's like, stunting your growth, and it's being comfortable where you are when you feel uncomfortable in the situation, instead of leaving the situation and figuring out what your actual comfortability is.
Yeah. Break up. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I also trust you'll do it in a very nice way.
You've already kind of edged in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, best of luck. Congratulations on this time of discovery for you. And we'll keep track of all of this for our own conducted research about relationships in the pandemic.
Yes.
Hi, Meg and Melissa. I'm 24 years old. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a Scorpio, but I'm probably I'm a nice Scorpio. So I kind of have a unique sort of really embarrassing situation. So I feel like the only people I could call was the both of you. So I have a friend with benefits, and his pronouns are he, him. And we're both vaccinated, and it's totally fine, good, great, amazing. But recently when I've been going over, I like get these like itchy patches or like bumps on my skin. So at first, because it was just like on my thighs, I like thought it was just from like chafing from like sex or whatever. So I kind of just like brushed it off because I have sensitive skin. But when I stayed over for like the whole weekend, I got one like Saturday morning on my arm and was like, what the fuck? And then a week went by and I stayed over for just like a night. And when I was driving home, I got 2 little bumps like on the inside of my knee. So I was very confused because like that could also be from sex. I don't know. And I'm not sure if it's his sheets or maybe his body wash. Because sometimes I forget my body wash, but I never like forget my shampoo or like conditioner and stuff. So I know I should probably go see a doctor at this point, but I honestly don't know how to bring it up to him without like hurting his feelings or saying like, I think you have bed bugs or like something dumb like that. I don't even know. So should I even bring it up before like talking to my doctor or like, I don't know. We've been friends for a while, but we started hooking up like before the pandemic at like parties and like stuff and whatever. But once we both got vaccinated is when it sort of became like a regular thing. So I don't know, but any advice would be greatly appreciated. I'm just like really embarrassed and I don't like want to hurt anybody's feelings, but yeah. So thanks so much. Bye.
No need to be embarrassed. This will not hurt his feelings at all. So the reason why you have to tell him, as somebody who has contact dermatitis and like lots of sensitive skin issues, you'll probably, if you go to, which you should go to a dermatologist, they'll give you like
and
an
we're not doctors too.
No.
Just want to preface that.
Most likely they'll give you an allergy, like a topical allergy, like workup. But the issue is, they can test for like common allergens, but you're an adult. This is something that you haven't like experienced before. So more likely than not, like, yeah, it is probably like a product that he has. And so you're going to have to like write down a list of all of the things that you have been using to do that. So like, it's either you are snooping through his place, you're like figuring out what laundry detergent he uses, you're doing all of this kind of stuff, or you're just being like, hey, I have to go to the doctor because like I've been getting this like weird rash sometimes when I like hang out here. And so I'm going to try and figure out if there's like any allergens and stuff. Can you like let me know what so the things I would ask about: laundry detergent, what else, if he has any pets, if you have any dust kind of thing, that's something you probably would have noticed before. And you got to look up what a bed bug bite looks like.
But also, if it was bed bugs, he would have the same things too, right?
He would. But if he's not, so one of the issues with bed bugs, as someone who has lots of friends in New York, if you are like if you're just like not that observant or you're just kind of used to it, like a lot of people will just mistake them for like mosquito bites, and people will live with bed bugs for like an extended period of time and not think that, oh shit, I have bed bugs. It's like, oh, I get spider bites. Oh, I have like this, and this. So it could be possible that he also is experiencing this and doesn't know that that's what it's from. So I would also check. But because it seems, again, not a doctor, but because you're saying it seems like pretty like localized to like certain areas of your body, that's when you like look at products and that kind of stuff. Like
it could be even something that he's using like on himself that might not, because you said it was on your thighs and you just thought it was from sex. Oh, yeah. So it could be something like on, if he's going down on you, I would guess it could be something he's using on his face. I don't know if he has a beard or anything. It could be like conditioning. So you have to talk to him about it. And I wouldn't go about it in the bed bugs way. I would just say, I'm allergic to something. I'm going to the doctor. And I need to write down all the products that I'm coming in contact with. And it also could be that he just doesn't wash his sheets enough.
Yeah, no, it could be. And I would ask him to like show like where you have bumps or whatever, and make sure you take pictures of that and be like, do you have anything like this? Like, I'm trying to figure out what that is. Yeah. If you have sensitive skin too, I mean, it's fragrance, anything that's stuff like that.
Anything. So it doesn't have to be an awkward conversation unless you make it. Just say, hey, I'm just allergic to something. I'm trying to figure it out. And you could come from it from the point too of like, I don't know if it's something like that's here or at my house. I'm just trying to figure out. We know it's probably something at his house and you're not, but you just come at it from that angle. It's like, I'm just writing down all the products that I use or come in contact with. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause also like, depending on what they're like, which is why I say like, definitely take pictures to show to your like dermatologist or your doctor. It can be like product related. It also said like he's not cleaning that much, and like maybe he's got some spiders and there's like spider bites, and then maybe maybe you have contact dermatitis. And so then that can flare up. Like for me, I know I can get a spider bite or a mosquito bite, and then we'll get contact dermatitis all around it from like that reaction. So it could also be like that. So make sure you're taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't have to be awkward. It doesn't like mean anything. And like, it doesn't mean anything like it could mean that he's unclean, but like, he doesn't need to, like, he'll be fine. You have a rash, his ego can live.
Yeah.
Like,
especially if it seems like you guys are pretty happy with hooking up. So
yeah. And also any life event that can like lead a man to stop using 3-in-1 body wash, shampoo, and conditioner is a moment in every man's life that needs to be reached. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. We are back from our break and we're going to get into the rest of the calls.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Megan. I'm 22. I am a Sagittarius and my pronouns are she, her. So I'm getting married in about a year. We haven't, we're still waiting for COVID to like clear up and everything before we like make final plans, but we're getting our invitation list ready. We have a venue and everything because they're going back to in-person weddings and everything. Not for another year, but we're kind of getting the list ready just so we can send out the dates and all that good stuff. Basically, I found out recently that my dad's family, I'm really, really close with my whole entire family, especially my parents. I have like a very, very close relationship with them both.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
But I recently found out that my dad's siblings, my aunt and one of his brothers, his sister and one of his brothers, have had some sketchy things in the past, whereas my uncle did some very like perverted and just very like terrible things in his life. And my mom has told me about what it is that he did. It was, I don't know, it's just very icky kind of stuff. And I don't want that kind of thing at my wedding. And my aunt is just a fucking bitch, and she needs to make everything about her, and she makes competition. She's like said things to me about like my grandma, and she told me that my grandmother cheated on my grandfather, and it's the whole thing. But my dad is like a huge family man, and my parents are paying for my wedding. So my question is, I don't want those two people at my wedding, but they're my dad's siblings and he's close with them, but I don't want them there because, number one, they've never made like an effort to get to know me. My other uncle does try to get to know me. His birthday cards, we call and talk on the phone all the time. But my aunt and uncle, the other two, I don't want them
at my wedding, and I don't know how to tell my dad that, and I don't know how to do it in a way that, you know, doesn't like make my dad feel bad and doesn't make like, I don't know. It's a big deal to not invite somebody to your wedding because they did go to my older sister's wedding, but I don't want them at mine. And my mom's on my side. She doesn't want them there either. Anyway, any kind of advice you can give me would be very appreciated on how I can approach that and how I can do that. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate any feedback you can give me. Have a good one. Bye.
Maybe I'm like really off base and you can tell me this, Melissa. Like, your mom is on your side. I would really have her and you have the conversation with your dad together, because like your parents are paying for your wedding. You didn't specify that it's just your dad paying for the wedding. That like, it sucks that it like can feel like if you have like parents or someone else paying for the wedding, it can be like, well, this isn't necessary. Like, I kind of have to appease them. But if it's like, okay, it's my wedding and 50% of the person, like half of the person who's paying for it, they're not into it either. That might be an easier conversation to broach, but I also don't know your parents' relationship or if that's something that you feel comfortable discussing with them, or your mom feels comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, I don't have this. I can't like relate to, I mean, there probably are perverts in my family, but I don't know about it. I mean, I'm just saying there's my dad has 9 brothers and sisters. His mom had like 9 siblings. So
you
we
just
have
said
a lot
it
of family.
So casually.
I'm just saying, like, there's just a lot of people in my family, and you know, chances are there's a pervert somewhere. I just don't know who it is. But as we've talked about on our other podcast, me and my dad get in a lot of fights about family, as it is, just because he's super close to his family, and I'm just like I am with people. Like, I kind of have like an armor up, and I just don't think that like you need to and have to have family at everything. And just because you're related to someone doesn't mean that they need to be part of your life. But like, I know like when your parents are paying for things, and yes, it's your wedding, but like, I feel like if this is going to cause, I think you should have the conversation with your dad. Like, you don't want them there. See how that goes. And then after that, if he's still like gun-ho on it and he's still paying for the wedding, I just think your wedding day is so like about you, and you're not going to be focused. You're not actually going to be focused on the people that are there. You're not, they won't be like somebody, because they're not close to you as it is. They're not going to be trying to make conversation with you or try to be around you or whatever. They may try to be in the family picture, but Photoshop exists.
Yeah, put them both on the end.
Yeah, put them on the end. Try to get a clear one without them. A clear picture with maybe you and your groom to, you know, get everything that will be on the sides. I think you can talk to about this with your photographer.
Yeah.
But if you think it's going to cause like a big rift, a big fight after you actually have the conversation with your dad, I think that you can get through your day without actually knowing that they're there.
I agree. And I think that the conversation, like see how the conversation goes. And if it's like, okay, they have to come, then you and your parents need to sit down and figure out which family members are going to be assigned to them. And having that conversation with your dad where it's like, I love you and I want to have you at my wedding, like I want to be able to spend time with you at my wedding. And I don't want to like not be able to have great memories with my dad at my wedding because my dad is with 2 family members that I don't want there. So like, we're going to have to figure out like a reject cousin who like, that's their responsibility, or like, I don't know, like an obligation bridesmaid, like, or even just like a friend who like is like great, but you're not going to be spending a lot of time with them.
Not a bridesmaid if he's a
no,
pervert.
I know like a friend who, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean,
It
someone
needs
like
to be like another family member that already knows what's going down in the family.
Yeah. Another family member, or if it's like one of your bridesmaids, or like if you have like a cousin in your wedding party or whatever, and they have a husband or a boyfriend who you know and you trust, you never really get to spend time. If like one person's in the wedding party, like the wedding party really hangs out. I've been like the plus one of someone in a wedding. I've been like matzahs and all of that. If someone gave me a job, I'm like, I got all the fucking time in the world. And so like doing that, like having that coordination. But I do think that like if your dad is going to insist, then he needs to like help you and coordinate how that's going to work, because it's like you just say to him, like, well, I'm planning for the worst. And like, I'm not comfortable. And like, especially with the uncle, like being like, you know, I'm really not, I would like, here's the thing then I want to let my bridesmaids and I want to let my friends know that like, hey, by the way, my uncle's really creepy because I don't feel comfortable putting him in situations with like my friends or like any of the women in my life. So like, this is like the thing, like if you're insisting on them being there, I'm going to need to let people know. And that's something that like, we're going to have to let the catering staff know. We're going to have to let the venue staff know and all of that. And I am not like, my conscience is not okay with.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
With us just like letting him loose on all of these people without knowing what's going to happen.
Also, has he been convicted of anything? Because if he's not allowed to be like maybe around children,
invite a couple kids.
It might be, beneficial to you.
Yeah, if you're having like a no kids wedding party, but if he's legally not allowed to be around children, invite a kid. And then he can't come.
Yeah.
Call his parole officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for your aunt who's just a bitch, that's
are they together or are they not?
I don't think so, because I think they're both her dad's siblings.
Got it.
For a while, I was like, well, at least they found each other. I think they're siblings. So, and then for her, I think it's like the same kind of thing. It's assigning someone to her. And the good thing about someone who just likes to make everything about themselves, if you don't give them a speech at your wedding, if they're not invited to the pre-stuff, then it's a lot easier. Like, because the wedding inevitably, like, again, unless you like crash the stage or make a speech, you can't really make a wedding about yourself unless you're wearing like a tux and a gown. Yeah. Like, it's not necessarily going to happen. So.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about just like being in my sister's weddings, and just because, being part of the party, I don't like rarely talk to even though I love most of my aunts and uncles, I didn't really talk to them just because you're busy doing other things. So I really don't think it's just like the fact that they'll be there, that that they're there, but I really don't think you'll be in contact with them during the wedding.
And then create
the party.
Create a plan if shit goes awry. Do we have one more? Is it time for Don't Blame Them?
We've got one more.
Okay, let's do it.
Hi, Megan, Melissa. I listen to your guys' podcast all the time, and I finally decided to call in and get your guys' opinion and advice about a problem I have. So, go back about 4 years ago. My now husband and I were engaged, and we were of different religions. I was one thing and he was the other. And they were both scopes of Christianity. So in our book, it really wasn't all that different. But for some reason, it was a big deal to my parents. And they wanted him to convert, which he being pretty stubborn and, he wouldn't. And I didn't want him to. I didn't want him to do anything he didn't want to, but my parents were kind of insisting. So it got to the point where I was like, you know what? screw this. I'm going to become what he is. And so I left my faith denomination and entered his. I told my parents about it, and they absolutely blew up about it and decided to not support our wedding financially or physically. So they withdrew our venue. They took back their deposit. They cut off pretty much communication with me and him, and they didn't show up to our wedding either. Neither did any of my brothers or sisters or my parents, and part of my family from their side too. So about a year passed. I have since forgiven them, but my husband has not. He says that it was disrespectful of him and me, which it was, and I understand that. But they're my family, and I have forgiven them, but he will not. Is it wrong for me to want him to forgive them for what they did? Or should I just let him do him? I feel like I'm being selfish because it was my parents, and they did it to me because of my choices. And he's the one that's making it into a big deal. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know what to do. Should I be trying to get them back together? Should I try to get him to forgive them? Or should I just let it go and try to figure it out from there? I don't know. What do you guys think? I would appreciate any input you guys have. I'm just really lost on what to do. So thanks so much. Love you both.
The drama.
So much drama. I don't know. Since you left out the specifics of what denominations it is, I think it makes it a little bit harder for me. I know you're not very familiar with Christianity as a whole, but like for me, who does know about Christianity, if I don't know what denominations that you're in, this is a little harder for me to wrap my head around.
Because in my mind, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that how I, as an outsider, would be like, okay, Mormonism is like very much its kind of like own thing. And a lot of like Mormons marry other Mormons. It's very kind of specific most of the time. I think of like the Duggars, like that kind of like, I don't know what the specific denomination, but like the fundamentalist, like kind of Christian, where like
those are the right leaning. Those are the same.
But then aside from that, like, from like what Motz has told me about, like, I forget which one his dad
Lutheran,
is.
right?
Lutheran. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then there's like, that's like not that different than a lot of like other stuff. So like there's like all of the other ones, it feels like they're relatively similar.
It's usually just like the way that you're baptized is like a little different, is like what the difference is. Like some people, like, you know, like you can be baptized as a kid. Some people you have to wait and make. That's usually the difference in it. Like how you accept Jesus into your life, quote unquote, is usually the different denominations. And there's like doctrines and like it's all written out and stuff.
Okay.
But I think at this point, a lot of it is just the same. And so that's why it does seem like this is a little bit extreme. And I can't give a clear answer because I don't know what denominations you are.
Yeah, my thing though is that like, what do you mean when you say your husband hasn't forgiven them? Because at the end of the day, like, if he's making your life harder, then that's an issue that you guys need to talk about. But if he's just like, if they lost his trust and like he's not, the affinity that you feel to your family, he was never ever going to feel because it's not they're not his family. And wanting him to forgive them, like what does forgiveness look like to you? And what is it currently like? Because I think if it's causing an issue, that's a problem. But if it's just kind of like, you know what, like it really sucked and like I'm never going to be fully over how they treated you, but like it's not going to affect the relationship that I have with them. It's not going to affect that like I see them at holidays or X, Y, and Z and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that's important to know that if he's making your relationship with them strained, then that's like, okay, we have to go to therapy because this is affecting our relationship and my relationship with them. And like, that's on you. And it is my family and it's my choice to forgive them. It's also his choice not to forgive them, but it's not fair to make your life harder because the reason why he's mad is for you. And like, that's the fucked up part. I'm like, if you're making my life harder, you're mad for me. Now you're making my life harder.
you're like her in the situation, and I'm like him in the situation where like when somebody wrongs me, it pisses me off, and it's very, very, very hard for me to forgive them. Like a friend that I had, I guess we've kind of made up, but it's been about 10 years in the making. But she did some shit at my sister's wedding that like, so she like did some stuff that like at my sister's wedding that pissed me off, and it had nothing to directly do with me, but it was about my sister. And my sister forgave her, but I was like, she's my actual friend and I don't forgive her. And so like it's taken years and we're still not fully there, but like I'm very hard at forgiving people when they fuck around, especially when they didn't show up for your wedding. Like they had other family members not show up, and I just think it would take a minute for me to forgive them.
But so I'm like you, I don't forgive people. I am like, I will remember always, but I'm not going to make it harder for somebody else. Like I'm never like when I don't know if like I would ever consider myself like, oh, I'm forgiving you. Mm-hmm. It's like, I know you. And I'm now taking you for what you are. And I have lowered my expectations because you showed me how low they need to be, because that's what you can do. And that's all. And like, that's kind of how I feel, that it's like, I'm not going to make anyone's life harder. I'm going to make my life easier, because I'm not going to expect like much from this person, but like, I'm not going to pretend like that thing never happened at all. So I think that like, it's about figuring out, like, at least what I want to know is, what is his current relationship with them? And what do you want that to be? Because that can be like a hard pill to swallow, to recognize that he might have never been as close with them as you thought. And it could have been this, like, you paint this idea of what you really want it to be or whatever. And they kind of lived up to his expectations of them. And it might have confirmed the fact that he like thought that it was kind of sucky of them, and that he's had those like lingering emotions towards them. And that's also okay, but it's not okay if it's hurting your relationship with him and with them. But it's all about expectations. Not to quote, if you know, manage your expectations. But you both need to have like a conversation with each other about what you expect and what you're both willing to like give in this situation. And I think forgiving people is great, and you've managed to forgive your parents. But I think having a really explicit talk with your husband about this, are you overlooking, because they're your parents, are you kind of tolerating some passive aggressive comments or any of this stuff? Like, is it truly the hatchet is buried, it's in the past? Or are there some things that are lingering and still there that make it hard for him to have like a day-to-day relationship with them, because they're making it hard for him? Mm-hmm. Because you can't force anyone to forgive someone. And also when it comes to parents, a lot of the time you might have forgiven them because that's what you needed to do, but they might have not apologized. Like, you might have been able to be like, okay, I'm going to be able to get over this and do all of this on my own and move past this. And like, because I want to maintain a relationship with them. You might have done 100% of the work, and they might not have done any. But you're able to do that because you have this like long lasting relationship and history with them. He doesn't. It's way harder to have that kind of forgiveness. But I think you need to stress it with him, and both of you need to have like, manage your expectations of each other. Mm-hmm. And I think like, I mean, we recommend therapy all the time if it's like a rough issue that's like still hard to process. But your partner, and I'm probably the wrong person to talk about this, but I don't think that your partner, I think family, yes, is important, but relationships are a lot more important. And those relationships can be people that are related to you. They can be people who aren't related to you. But like, I value my relationships with people, like how those are, not how they got there, not how we're connected, but just like the quality of them. And I think that like, if you can separate them from being your parents, do they treat him well? Like,
right. Right. And does he see something that you're not seeing in the way that they treat you?
Yeah. And if not, then it could just be that he's like, I'm really holding on to a grudge. I had no idea that this was like affecting you and making you feel really bad about this. Like, that was not my intention at all. Like, I'm obviously angry at what they did to you, but like, if you're going to forgive them, like, there's no reason for me to hold all of this anger towards them, because I'm just preventing this from moving forward. So you have to just have a really explicit conversation and tell him, like, if you see something that I'm not seeing, like, tell me. Like, I need you to be super, super, super honest with me. Now it's time for Don't Blame Them. This is the segment where a listener will call in and give their own advice from a call that we've previously aired. So they listen, they're like, hey, I have some 2 cents. Maybe I have some experience with this. Maybe they have something, maybe they have some insight that we didn't see, missed something, or they're just validating our already wonderful, fantastic, amazing advice. Mm-hmm. So what episode is it from?
So this is from season 7, episode 21. And I'll just play it because she gives pretty good.
Like, as if I even know what that means. I always ask, but I'm like,
well,
no
it's
clue.
more like a reference for if somebody wants to go back and listen to the original one.
But I always lie, and I'm like, yes, that episode.
Hi, Melissa and Megan. Love the podcast. I am actually calling in for Don't Blame Them for the most recent episode, which was, I think, episode 21, season 7. I'm calling for the caller whose roommate, was messaging her boyfriend talking about how much she hates her and how much she wants her to get out, even though they, talk about being friends and stuff. I have personal experience with this because I had a very similar situation happen to me. I'm 22. I don't know if you care. I'm a Sagittarius, whatever. I'm a girl. It's she, her. Sorry. I'm driving, so sorry if it sounds like bad. But basically, I had a friend, and we had a very similar situation happen where it wasn't her boyfriend she was messaging, but it was, our third friend. We had, a trio of, best friends and stuff, and 2 of us lived together, and then our third friend didn't live with us. And our third friend has been my best friend since kindergarten. But basically, my roommate was messaging her and telling her, because I was moving out to a different city, and so I was moving away from them. And basically, my best friend from kindergarten was messaging with my roommate, and my roommate was basically saying, I'm really excited for her to leave, finally she can just be an eye, and finally closer, wanted to be. And my best friend was sending me the screenshots the whole time and telling me about it and letting me know basically that she was being super fake to me and stuff. I pretty much just want to agree with you guys and say that you need to just get away from her and completely distance yourself from her. Because anybody who's going to talk shit like that to their boyfriend about you is not someone you want in your life. Trust me. And another thing I'd say is as soon as you get, out of that situation, vet your roommates before. Because, like Melissa and Megan said, it seems like she was using you. It was, a very beneficial relationship for her, so she got a lot out of it, and look, she has somewhere to live, she has a job, and now that you're moving out, she isn't going to be getting anything out of you anymore, so you're disposable to her. And that's how I was treated too. So basically, I would just say fuck her, and then just completely distance yourself and get away, and don't try to be friends with her after that. You don't want to be friends with her. I'm not friends with mine anymore. She's a total bitch. We don't talk anymore. And my best friend stopped talking to her too. Especially if she knew that you were going to be using her computer. That's so fake. Oh my God. You can find better friends, I promise. Good luck. Anyway, thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Megan. Love you guys. Bye.
I second all of this. Trios are the devil's work.
Unless it works in your favor, because it did in this situation. Because the third friend was sending her all the information.
Oh, true. Yeah, but then it's how it's for the other. No matter what, somebody's always left high and dry. And sometimes it is the villain of the trio, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah, in this
Someone's
situation,
always
it
left
was
out.
because the non-roommate friend was feeding all the information, and then they're also not friends with the other gal anymore. So Yeah, I like the colors. I like her attitude. I feel like we would be friends.
I feel like so too.
So, yeah, just get out the situation and don't look back. Fuck her.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, vet your roommates.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I have to repeat this. Don't be roommates with your friends. I feel like roommates should be like, it should not look like what Friends, the TV show, look like. It should be just because you do enter a legal contract with them.
I think you should be coworkers.
A business relationship.
Like the kind of like, or even like you have like your like, I don't know, like school friends, like friends that you're friends with in one class. You don't eat lunch together. You don't hang out, but like, oh, we're in this class together and like we get along. Like it's nice to see you. Like this is easy, but like there's no pressure. That's what it needs to be. It needs to be like your water cooler friend or your algebra friend. Like that's the extent and level that it should be at. And constantly people are this is like probably the number one thing that we get in the Facebook group and in general of being like, I didn't listen. Because it seems like a great idea and it can work really great for some people. And I also think that people talk about it and romanticize roommates so differently.
It's on TV. Like it's like an experience to like come home and sit down and drink wine together and talk about your problems, and you're just so ingrained with each other, and it's just like, no.
Yeah, it only works, I think, if you are so close. You are like siblings, so you already fight like siblings, and like
you can make up. Like with siblings, it's easy to make up.
Yeah, so it's that, or they are a random roommate and you have become friends. And by the time that like you are really close friends, you both have probably decided that it's time to move out and not live with each other anymore. Yeah. Or you've just ended up being the perfect roommates and friends. But like, it's rarely ever friends, then roommates. Roommates can become friends. But if you start as friends and then become roommates, you're not going to probably leave as friends. Well, that is it for our episode. If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. All of the same things I said at the beginning apply. Keep it under 3 minutes. Let us know your pronouns. Write everything down. Practice so it is all nice and concise. It's always nice to remind you at the end of the podcast where you can like you can tell which ones were all written down and nice.
Yeah, so, I also want to say that we do not support distracted driving. So please, if you need to be in your car, please be parked, because we did have a couple people calling in this episode that were driving and we could hear blinkers and things. And it just, one, we don't want you to be distracted, but two, also the sound quality is better if you're not actually driving. So please, please, please don't actually be driving when you're calling us.
Yeah. Windows rolled up, air conditioning off. Make a little nice little sauna.
Yeah.
Give yourself a nice little steam.
You only got 3 minutes. So
yeah,
you can deal with it.
You've got it. We have the video version of our podcast over on Patreon. And if you want to just support the podcast, we have a $1 a month tier to get all of the videos. And we have a $5 tier. And we do bi-monthly is.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Either mean?
That's twice a month. Or it could be every 2 months.
Right? Isn't that like the
same thing with when we were saying bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, yeah. So we do 2 live streams there a month. They're very fun. It's literally just all of us on Zoom together, like hanging out and talking. We know some people so well. And we also encourage, if you are like a part of the tier and you have yet to join one, totally join, but also don't feel pressure to join if you just want to support the show for $5 a month, and you don't have to come into the lives at all if you're not into that. But we do enjoy it. What else? Follow us on Instagram, follow us everywhere. Follow me on TikTok. I like TikTok.
If you read the comments, I'm always going to be in there stirring up some trouble. I got to respond to that girl back.
I die. Multiple people have responded, I think, now too. It's too fucking funny. Oh, follow our Instagram.
Anything you want to promote?
It's linked. Buy my book, buy my presets, and stay up to date on the current situations of the world. And if you are able to donate money to, the amount of stuff that's going on in the world, right? It's a lot.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, there's
I'm
a lot.
Very angry.
Yeah. And as somebody who is like a very staunch pro-vaxxer, which also you're wearing on your shirt now, as we in the United States are quote unquote getting back to normal, it's a massive luxury. And there's a lot of countries that are really far behind. So even countries that don't necessarily need financial aid, just be cognizant when you're talking about the state of the world and all of that stuff and getting back to normal, that there are places where that is not a luxury that they have. And so bully the anti-vaxxers into your life, into getting the vaccine.
Yes, please. I would like to promote, I like that. If you're watching, that's gold only if you're watching. But
it's a nipple.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, in case you didn't know. And on one of my other podcasts, Just Between Us, which we've had both Gabby and Allison on this show, we've been doing very specific episodes about trauma and like having experts and doctors on talking about trauma, medication, therapy, bad therapy, like how to spot bad therapy, sleep. So I do recommend listeners for this show to check out those episodes, because I think, and we've been doing 2 a week, so there's 8 episodes.
Holy
total.
shit.
Yeah. For Mental Health Awareness Month. So go check them out. I think that people that listen to this show would benefit.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
I have horrible
They've
sleep.
been great. The sleep one comes out next week, but yeah, they've all been great.
Nice. Oh, I'm excited. I love hearing experts talk about that kind of stuff, and with people who care.
Yes.
As opposed to like when you have hosts on who are just kind of like, haha, let's get this funny.
Yeah.
So,
and especially with Allison being in school for therapy, she's asking just like the questions when you're in between that you don't exactly know the answer, but knows how to answer or ask the right questions.
Yeah.
So it's very insightful.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I will definitely check that out. Leave us reviews and in the podcast store.
Shall we read one?
Oh, yeah.
Life-changing advice from KT Forrest. I've rediscovered this podcast after a few years, and I've been binging all of the episodes for weeks. So good. I feel like I'm living with a lot more clarity now, honestly. Megan and Melissa are so entertaining and create a very safe, no-nonsense place for advice giving. I love it all. Also, Megan's book, amazing.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Oh, wait, this one's so nice. Did we already read this one?
Which one? I don't know what you're looking at.
I'm a better me because of Don't Blame Me. This podcast has truly made me. This is from Brady Baby. I'm a better me because of Don't Blame Me. This podcast has truly made me a better person. The candid advice, the enlightening topics, and the incredible way all of it is delivered has truly made me a better me. That's so nice. Maybe that inspires you to leave a nice review. We would really appreciate it. And we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me, executive produced by Melissa DeMonts, edited by Katrina Henning, and music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry, Jiminy.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go Network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.